Louis became the first city on the Mississippi coast to pass a resolution supporting the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender community, LGBT. City leaders voted unanimously for the solution. Bay St. Louis Mayor Les Fillingame and Jeff White Perkins, Mississippi Gulf Coast Lesbian and Gay Community Center president, are right here, right now, to talk about this resolution. We're going to start things off with Doug Walker.
Hi, Dave. Thank you. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Why was it necessary to pass this resolution in Bay St. Louis? And obviously it was done unanimously, so there was very little debate about it, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But why was it necessary? Why do you need it?
Most of us would believe that it's not really necessary. You know, Bay St. Louis is a very, has engaged and embraced our diversity for quite a long time. We're a very non-discriminating, enjoyable community that all of us tolerate each other at a very extreme level. I think the assertion, you know, just to reassert the fact that there is not an issue with discrimination of any sort or kind inside Bay St. Louis was the statement that the council wanted to make.
Now, this thing has been framed as a victory for the LGBT community, Jeff, because that's kind of the climate in America today. That's sort of the hot topic, if you'll excuse my use of that term. But the fact is that the resolution was much larger than that. It said, without regard to race, religion, nationality, sexual orientation, marital status, veteran status, disability, or source of income, what politician would have voted against that?
Exactly.
I mean, and people, this thing was a courageous vote. What politician would have voted against that?
I mean, if it would have definitely not looked well upon them had they not done that. But to be honest, we pretty much knew going into it that with the way that it was worded, I mean, it's very non-threatening in any capacity towards basically anyone.
Inclusive for more than just the LGBT community.
Yeah.
It was really everybody.
However, members of your organization expressed surprise, or some of them did at least, at the unanimous vote, not expecting it to be unanimous. So why that?
I think it was because of Mr. Reed, the fact just that he's a local pastor. We thought maybe there might have been some opposition just based off of religious reasons, but at the same time, the way that it was worded, even he himself said there was no language in there whatsoever that would have caused him to vote against it. He said if it had have been different, there might have been chance for debate, but with the fact that the way that it was worded and the fact that it did literally include everyone, just made it easier. So.
Jeff, I'm curious, with the exception of the obvious, the fact that in the state of Mississippi you are not allowed to marry as a gay male. You can't, the same-sex marriage not in Mississippi. Right. Where have you ever been discriminated against as a result of your sexual orientation in Bay St. Louis and Hancock County in the state of Mississippi?
In North Mississippi, I have. Since I moved down to the coast, I've experienced, I mean, it's been nothing but welcoming. I've been completely surprised. In comparison to South Mississippi and North Mississippi, it's two different places. But yeah, in North Mississippi, I mean, growing up, I was raised independent Baptist. Definitely experienced a lot of trauma.
Do you think other cities on the coast might follow the lead of Bay St. Louis now that you've kind of broken the ice, so to speak?
Well, I wouldn't want to speak for any of the other cities, but I would imagine that the willingness to embrace the freedom of expression as it is in Bay St. Louis is probably a general attitude across the coast. So yeah, I would think that it would be considered very strong.
Well, no, there's going to be a domino effect. I'm telling you right here now.
Well,
every city's going to do it.
Is your organization going to go to the other cities?
Of course they are.
Oh yeah, we are working on
because it's a national campaign.
And we hope everyone's going to follow through.
It's a national campaign, Jeff, if we're honest, from the Human Rights Campaign, which is an organization that has poured millions of dollars into doing this all across the country, and they've really targeted Mississippi, Alabama, and what is it, Georgia?
Possibly Louisiana. But here, again, I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked the mayor to start the segment. Is this really necessary? I mean, in 2014, there's going to be discrimination. Everybody's discriminated against for something, somewhere, somehow. So is this necessary in the LGBT viewpoint?
In the sense of opening it up with the laws that have been passed, like Senate Bill 2681, where people are beginning to try to pass laws to allow discrimination for local cities and stuff to actually speak up and say, we won't participate in that, that we will actually reject discrimination.
And yet, truth be told, you are discriminated against, because when you go down to the courthouse seeking a marriage license, you're not going to
Can't get it, yeah. I mean, my husband
Until the
and
law
I-
changes.
Until
Right
the
now,
law
you're
changes.
not being discriminated
My
against.
husband and I actually have applied for marriage licenses and been denied, and that's why we're waiting until the day when we can walk in and they actually will not write void under my name.
And in relation to that religious freedom, so-called Religious Freedom Restoration Act, passed by the legislature, there are stickers that have been going up all over the state in businesses, and I know Bay St. Louis has been very active on there, and I think you've probably seen them in businesses if you're buying or selling, which is a way for businesses to support the LGBT community, and really anybody who would be against any form of discrimination anyway. You happy to see that?
Well, there again, you know, we are a tourist-based economy in Bay St. Louis and on the Gulf Coast, and of course, you know, in order to be fully inviting and fully open to the world and to everyone's, we're also a very creative economy. Bay St. Louis is very rich in creative economy, and the arts community there is very, very open to freedoms of
Well, getting
expression
back to that law,
and human rights.
the example that was used probably most frequently was the photographer with a religious background not wanting to photograph a gay couple getting married. To me, the only color that really matters is green. I don't see a photographer turning down $2,000 just because he doesn't want to shoot a gay couple. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just don't see it that way. It's more green than anything else.
Well, I don't know more than anything else. That's part of the equation. You know, economies have to be open, cultures have to be open, communities have to be open, and to that type of diversity, and be able to tolerate all of that. And it's you can't have the complete equation without all aspects.
Well, we've run out of time in this segment, and I really wanted to talk about a lot more things. Very quickly, do you have a yes or no answer? Are you participating in the upcoming June protest up in Jackson and I believe other cities regarding the Religious Freedom Restoration Act? Are you familiar with that, the protests that are being organized?
I have seen them at the universities, but I'm not participating.
That's right, it is at the
Yeah.
universities.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's going to be up at
it's
Ole
about-
Miss,
yeah,
at
Ole
the
Miss.
commencement, and then someplace else.
And then at USM in
Yeah, USM. Okay.
Long Beach.
Oh,
But no,
you'll
I'm
be-
not.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, guys, for being with us here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
for
We
having me.
appreciate your time.
When we come back, we'll shift gears drastically.
We're going to talk a little